Boston Duck Boat Tour. I have visited Boston several times and visited many of the popular tourist sites, so on a recent trip, I thought I would try something different. I had heard of duck boat tours that travel around Boston on both land and water, so I made a reservation a couple months in advance. I booked the tour through Viator.com and reserved a 4 p.m. time slot. I arrived in Boston around 2 p.m., so hurried to the New England Aquarium where we were supposed to meet. I arrived an hour early, so checked in at a kiosk. I requested a window seat so that I could take pictures and video, but was told that the seats were pre-assigned. So I waited for an hour by the aquarium, which is a fun setting by the shore. 5 minutes before the tour was to begin, I walked over to the duck boat, only to discover that the seats weren't specifically assigned. The row was assigned, but not the actual seat, and someone in my two-seater row had already taken the window seat. Fortunately for me, a couple passengers didn't show up on time, so I was able to move and nab a coveted window seat. Our guide was simply hilarious. I have had so many guides throughout my travels, but this character, and I mean character, made the trip so much more amusing with his dry, satirical humor. We toured around the city with his narration highlighting various points of interest. I'm not going to share every place we drove by, since there were so many. I'll just say he had a story and history for every block we drove through. Here are a few images of the drive. One of the highlights for me was driving through Boston Commons. I had walked through there before, but discovered I had missed certain areas. And of course, the most exciting part of the tour was the immersion into the water on the Charles River. It was wild to go from land to water. Take a look.
Hey everyone, we made it. We are in the Charles River.
Once in the river, we motored through a narrow area, under a bridge, and then it opened up into a wide expanse. The view of the city and bridges were fabulous from the water. A few minutes into the boat ride, the guide asked if anyone was interested in driving the boat. I shot my hand up and was given the wheel. I thought that the driver would still be steering from the second seat, but no, I had complete control. He just told me to move the wheel a little more right or left. It was a blast. They let anyone who wanted to take a turn at the helm do so. We made a big loop around the wide part of the river and eventually drove back up on land. On our way back to the aquarium, the guide continued to share history and landmarks. I really wish the first time I visited Boston, I would have started with this tour. It's not like a hop-on, hop-off bus where you can get on and off. It doesn't stop. What's great about it is that you get an overview of the city in 80 minutes and have some fun as you go. I would suggest taking it first and then determine where you want to spend more time. They dropped us off where we started, and that completed the tour, which took 80 minutes, 60 minutes on land, and 20 in the water. I truly enjoyed this tour, and have to say, I now have a more positive view of Boston after this tour than I did on my previous trips. I learned once again that good experiences can color your view of any destination. If you have questions, feel free to ask in the comments section. For senior and solo travelers, check out 2 new resources, the Senior Solo Travel website and the Facebook forum, where you can interact with other travelers. I've included links to both in the description. And if you'd like to follow my senior and solo travel journeys, please like and subscribe. Next stop, Newport, Rhode Island.